The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
This is how the birth of Jesus Christ came about. When his mother Mary was betrothed to Joseph, but before they lived together, she was found with child through the Holy Spirit. Joseph, her husband, since he was a righteous man, yet unwilling to expose her to shame, decided to divorce her quietly. Such was his intention when, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, "Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary your wife into your home, for it is through the Holy Spirit that this child has been conceived in her. She will bear a son, and you are to name him Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins." All this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet. "Behold, the virgin shall be with child and bear a son, and they shall name him Emmanuel," which means God is with us. When Joseph awoke, he did as the angel of the Lord had commanded him, and took his wife into his home. He had no relations with her until she bore a son, and he named him Jesus. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Good morning. Welcome to those joining us through the live stream. It's fairly common for a child to want to know the story of their birth. You know, "Mommy, tell me the story of my birth. Tell me what happened when I was born. What town were we living in? What house were we living in? What were the days like leading up to my birth? What was the drive to the hospital like? How long was the labor?" All these trivial yet important things build toward that big moment when the child first appears in the flesh. The moment that his parents behold him for the first time and hold him for the first time, and the first moment that he's called by name. And of course, it's more than just about the story. It's about relationships and identity and how the beginnings inform both the present and the future. And for the storyteller, it's about how they see the world and what's important to them. So in the story of Jesus' birth, today we learn about Joseph's plans. Once he discovers that Mary is pregnant. Now Joseph kind of embodies the Jewish tradition. He's kind of the epitome of the righteous Jewish man. He goes about keeping the law as the way to live with God. And now in Jewish law, adultery is punishable minimally by shame, but also at the extreme by death. Mary potentially could have been stoned to death. Yet Joseph decides to temper the law with mercy, to dismiss her quietly without a big public divorce, to try to save her as much as possible from the retribution of the law. Now, in some ways, we're all a little like Joseph, kind of limiting ourselves by our tried and true way of doing things, our own way of dealing with our personal, spiritual, and professional matters. Right? We think things through, try to use our best judgment. As good Christians, we try to bring God into the picture, make a holy decision. Okay, this is the plan of action I should follow in this particular circumstance. But something that goes beyond the old patterns of action that Joseph knows so well is needed in order to usher in Emmanuel. And so through a dream, God presents kind of an alternative explanation of what's happening. And in this dream, an angel appears to Joseph and says, "Joseph, do not be afraid." Asking Joseph, forsake all that you know and understand in order to participate in a much larger story. Take a leap of action that goes beyond your understanding of the law. Do more than you understand in order to understand more than you do. And so we see a lesson about the surprising ways that God works. Nothing is impossible for God. Perhaps within us, there's a voice we're trying to avoid, asking us to go beyond our tried and true ways in order to assist in the coming of Emmanuel into our own lives and into the world around us. God with us. But what will going beyond those tried and true ways mean? What things we wish we could dismiss quietly might we may be asked to make our own? Do not be afraid. There's a model here for making decisions when dealing with doubts. Pray about it. Carry it as a question. Pester God about it. Take your challenging situations to the Lord in trust. When you're puzzled about situations, turn to God in prayer for light. Allow your carefully made plans to be unraveled. God is with you in what you do. God is now present in the world as never before. You're surrounded by God. There's never an instant when God is not with you. Have no fear of the changes of life. Instead, see them for what they are, as surprising stages along your journey home with Him. In these last days of Advent, may each of us take that tiny leap of action to draw us nearer to something we don't fully understand. Emmanuel is God with us. Do not be afraid.